From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LALATE with incredible great details about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 today. In this recording, we go over the monthly stimulus check the Democrats still want you to have under the fourth stimulus package. We'll be going over first why there may actually be more months of fourth stimulus checks than initially thought, no less than 5 days ago. Wow. Then we turn to the surprise that the fourth stimulus may have other items in there that we never thought initially that will be coming to you into the fourth stimulus package, OMG. And then we turn to the third part, which is the voting process, and how the vote is getting set and how away we go, why it's important, how they vote, not when they vote. You're going to see the breaking details in this huge Saturday afternoon's broadcast. Then we turn to the huge money across the board, fifth stimulus, that gives you another stimulus checks and lifts your benefits up a lifetime. I'm really excited for you on all these details. And then we go over the fortunes that viewers continue to get. $22,000, $10,000, $12,000. It's your day to get this big money. It's a big Saturday afternoon. I'm here, you're here, and let's get to all this incredible breaking news on this huge Afternoons LALATE. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? You made it to the weekend, and you made it to the 4th of July weekend as well. How are you? Happy 4th of July weekend to you. Hope the weather is good where you are. It's sunnier here today. You can tell. You can always tell when the sun's coming in. The flowers behind me are sort of harder to see because the sun is so strong. But it's still beautiful weather, really quite beautiful weather here in Santa Monica, California this afternoon, this Saturday of 4th of July weekend. Jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from. And how's the weather? In this fourth stimulus check update, we have so much breaking news. It's wonderful. First, we go over the monthly stimulus checks and why you may actually be getting more months of checks than thought just a few days ago. Then we turn to the exciting details of the fourth stimulus package and why there may actually be other money in there that we never thought that would be possible, and it's being added in every single minute. Oh my goodness. And then we go over the voting process and how the vote is so much more important than when they vote. You'll see all those details in this great video. And then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime and gives you another stimulus check. And then we go over the big money that viewers continue to get. $22,000 for Nisi, $12,000 for John. Viewers getting $5,000, $10,000, $12,000 routinely every single day. And this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America, live in the morning and taped in the afternoon, and just like right now. Coming up next is Evenings LALATE at 5 p.m. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year for a reason. The most comprehensive, the most in-depth, and the most interactive and fun channel there is. Hit that subscribe button right now. Next stop, 1 million subscribers. Also, like this video. Every time you like this video, it puts another backup singer behind Mitch. Maybe you don't want to like the video. No, please just like the video. I think it's the more that you hear the backup singer sing, not him, I think we're better. And consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the channel, the big comment. We're off to a start already. I just can feel it. Let's get first to that monthly stimulus check before I lose it. The fourth stimulus check has a monthly provision for both the House and the Senate. The House members would be providing under their bill a stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. It's that word pandemic that's really key. I'm going to come back to that in 1 second. The Senate proposal provides a stimulus check from now to December. Let's go over the payouts. The payouts. House bill, $1,000 after the first month of $2,000. Senators, the monthly unknown, but word on the street is it's this. Oh no, that's the wrong graphic. Don't you love when I say it's this and I just click the wrong this? It's this. It's that. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. Now that's deliciousness, pure deliciousness. That's per person. Now, what happened this week as to the surprising details about this? Well, the issue was pandemic plus 1 year. We started the week by saying, well, those legislators may contend the pandemic's over. We ended the week with the legislators potentially saying the pandemic is far from over. What happened in just a few days? LA County saying the pandemic's not over, reversing its mask mandate. Second, Oracle of Omaha. The economist of all economists, Warren Buffett, head of Berkshire Hathaway, saying the pandemic ain't over. The airlines saying that the pandemic's not over. They don't even see business travel even back a penny. So if that's the case, the House bill may actually give you pandemic plus 1 year, which means the remainder pandemic monthly and then plus 1 year, which would be a lot more than $13,000 of checks. Compare that to the Senate and this. I think you have an opinion, and the opinion may be different than it was a few days ago. Vote House of Senate, House of Senate. Jump into the live chat right now and tell me where you're tuning in from and vote House of Senate. Boy, things just changed very quickly. What do you think? I'm just really surprised. You may want that House bill over the Senate one now. It just changed by the minute. Who gets this fourth stimulus check? The Democrats would give a fourth stimulus check to everyone who got a third stimulus check. Single individual, $75,000 or less, you would get a fourth stimulus check from those Democrats. Married couple, $150,000 or less, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Double it. Married, a family of four, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. The fourth stimulus check would come monthly. It would not come the fourth stimulus check would not be income. It would not be income, so it's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check will be the same amount for all people, including adult dependents. And the fourth stimulus check is monthly. It doesn't come in waves. It doesn't come in waves. In fact, it's not even a waivable check. So if you see the check tonight at the dance floor trying to break dance, you try to wave for the check while it's in the middle of a move. Hey, check, how you doing? What is that move you're doing? Oh, now you're split. Now you're into two. Now you're $2.50. Ambulance. It's not a waivable check. It's just a check that can't even dance, and now it's half a check. Sorry. I'll see you in the emergency room. Yeah. Poor check, you just can't dance. There you go. The fourth stimulus check would come in the month of July for the month of July, those Democrats represent. And in the month of August for the month of August. The fourth stimulus check was to be called by a vote by July 4th. Leader Schumer and Nancy Pelosi represented like 1,000 times in writing and verbally, but they can still get that check to you in the month of July. In the second part of this video, we'll be going over the incredible great news of why you may actually be getting more money in fourth stimulus in addition to these additional months of checks. And then the third part of this video, we'll be going over why the issue of how they call the vote is far more important than when they call the vote. Because we are not day chasers on this channel, and we're not check chasers. We are check cashers. I'll have all the details coming up later in this video. But let's get a preview of the second part of this video. It's fifth stimulus. And boy, there's another stimulus check in there. It would be for next year, and it will raise your benefits lifetime. But the breaking news on Friday was wonderful. Oh, I can't wait to give you that news. But first, let's get some money. As I just said a second ago, this is not a channel that tracks checks for you. I've never been that way, and I'm never going to be that way. We're not here tracking checks. We're cashing checks. And you have been doing a wonderful job. I just got to praise you. You have defied the numbers. I, in this video, say $5,000 of rent, approximately 46 months of rent. You are getting $10,000 to $12,000 of rent daily. I talk about SNAP, and I say, SNAP, in Hawaii and this, and you're getting $12,000 for non-Hawaii families. John, I talk, and you're getting routinely $6,000 to $7,000 for individuals. And then when I talk about utilities, and I say a couple $100 for utilities, you're getting $3,000 for utilities. I am so impressed that you're my viewers. So jump in the live chat right now and say what you've gotten and where you got it, because every day it just impresses us all. And if you posted before, post it right now. So let's get that pen and paper ready. We're going to go over the incredible money you can get if you have never gotten anything. And if you've gotten one thing, then I want you to get a couple things, like Art, who got 3 things, Nisi, who got 4 things. Get that pen and paper ready, and let's get to it. We're going to go over rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and also homeowners' utilities. This is what I do. And this is exactly like December 2020. In December 2020, people were waiting for sex and stimulus to become a law. It wasn't yet law, just like we're waiting for fourth stimulus right now. And I said, you need money, so let's get some money for you. And I got viewers $250,000 of money. No one cares what the money is. I don't care you don't care if the money is for this or for that, so long as it's money. And a lot of it. And that's what we do in this channel. And I got viewers $25 million of EIDL loans in spring of last year to save people's businesses, homes, and also their employees' homes. Let's get that pen and paper ready. Here we go. Each place has different eligibility. And if one says no, you reach out to the next. You ready? You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. You're going to ask for rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage or homeowners utilities because of COVID. And there you go. You don't say words that they don't know, like stimulus or Mitch's mixtape drop date. They don't want to know that. No one wants to know that. Oh, my ear just hurt thinking about it. So they don't want to know that. So don't say the words they don't know. And yeah, I usually say $5,000 approximately for 4 to 6 months of rent, but I'm wrong because viewers are getting $10,000, $12,000 daily, routinely. And they're getting $3,000 for utilities. So go get it. Congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this big money. And now we cut to the next pot of money, and it's SNAP. Yes, John got $12,000 for his family. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom. Gail got it. And viewers are getting daily $5,000 to $7,000 routinely. How do you get this? Reach out to Department of Agriculture. Call up Department of Agriculture. Eligibility is about the same as a stimulus check. How much does it pay? And what is it for? It's for food. It's for food. How much does it pay? A lot. A family of 4 in Hawaii now gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Wow, why so much money? Because of 2 wonderful executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that both raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. And boy, you're killing it. I'm killing it. Jump in the live chat if you got Snap. Jump and say you got rent or utilities. Anything you did, post it right now because it inspires other people. You're killing it. $15,000, $16,000 for Snap for family of 4 in Hawaii. $5,000 for rent. And we are only 12 minutes of this video. You're killing it. The check on the dance floor, just really not killing it. Ooh, ouch. Ooh, what? Ambulance. Sorry, you shouldn't be breakdancing if you're a check because you'll just sort of, become $2.50. So there you go. I got more money for you, and it's money coming back from your states. One viewer got $5,000 for this. What is this? This is the money coming back from your states due to computer error. States that overpaid you unemployment benefits due to computer error and then asked the money back and you gave it back. Well, the federal government said no, it was your money to keep and has ordered the money returned to you. Oh my goodness. One viewer got $5,000 for this. Where is it going to land? Direct deposit. When? Contact your state and say, hey state, where is that money due to your computer error? Can you track it? And this time, can you track it with a computer that actually works? And finally, the last money is the refund check from IRS. If you got that as well, jump in the live chat and share when you got it. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it. It's wonderful. Let's go over how much, when, where, and how to track it. First, how much? It's a lot. So let's say you had $9,000 of total unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 of taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit or in the mail. When? This month. Can you track it? Yeah, about 70% of the time you can. Go to irs.gov, set up a username and password. Go in there and do a transcript search. 70% of the time it works. It will reveal stuff that you never knew. It will reveal stuff you don't even want to know. It'll reveal the tax return you file, the taxes you pay. It will reveal the track list on Mitch's mixtape. It will reveal, is Kanye doing a track on Mitch's mixtape? It will reveal, who is Mitch's rap inspiration? Kevin McCarthy. Yeah, I could have made up another joke, but I'm not going to go there. Rap, yeah, there's a rap sheet. Yeah, who's his inspiration? I'm not going to do that joke. You can do the joke in the comments, but it can also track your stimulus check. It can also track your refund check coming back from IRS. Oh my goodness, can we top that? We can, as we go into the second part of your fourth stimulus check update of 2021, starting right now. Boy, the last week has been wonderful for you because Your recon, or your stimulus checks, has now been made so much easier to pass. You're going to see over this channel, over these videos, where we are going back to our basics, where I say, we have an emoji, and the emoji says, donut. You do not want to be a donut. And donut guy, and it's every time we get right close to the finish line, the donut guys just come out of the woodwork. What date am I getting my check? What date are they calling the vote? What date are they sending the check out? My goodness. Donut guy, donut. Here's what you need to know. If all you want to know is the date they're calling the vote, you are going to get not even crumbs for the donut. Because if you call the vote the wrong way, it's not going to work. The great news is that not this last week, but the week before, had they called the vote, you would not even gotten crumbs. You would have not even gotten, the napkin to pick up the crumbs. Why? Because at that point, all we had was recon. Recon with stimulus checks and CARES economy and roads and bridges, all this monstrous recon. And up to not this last Wednesday, but the Wednesday before, it would not have passed. It would not have passed because it was too big. The recon was too big. And there was a clear problem. And viewers, and there's always a person who's not a viewer or subscribed to this channel, comes in, they're dragging their feet. They're not dragging their feet. They didn't call the vote because the recon was not going to pass. You don't call the vote on something that doesn't pass. You just know it's not going to pass. Why would you call the vote on something that's not going to pass? It's too big. So Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer had meetings with the president daily over the last 3 weeks, coming up to last Wednesday, not this Wednesday, but the Wednesday before, and said the recon's too big. We got to take stuff out. Not our stuff, not your stuff, but stuff that doesn't concern us. And finally, they made the deal. Not this last Wednesday, but the Wednesday before that, they said roads and bridges going out, taking them out of the recon. Roads and bridges are going in their own spin-off TV series called Nash Bridges with the beautiful Barracuda. No, that's not Nash Bridges. It's called bipartisan roads and bridges. Finally, we had two paths, the bipartisan and the recon. Your money still where it was, but all the roads and bridges taken out of the recon and put into the second path, a new path called bipartisan. Again, it has roads and bridges. All your money staying where it was for stimulus, checks, and all that. Three wonderful things came from this. You clearly already saw the first wonderful thing. It is now a passable recon. It was not a passable recon. It was not a recon that was going to pass a vote before they took roads and bridges out. It was too big. It was too big. So now that they've taken roads and bridges out, it is a passable recon. That's the first thing. Second is that now the recon has identity for itself. Clearly, you had seen the naysayers over the 3 weeks before that said there's nothing in this recon except roads and bridges. Roads and bridges. There's no money for you except roads and bridges. Yeah, there was. All you saw was the president talking about roads and bridges and appearing in front of a backdrop of a road and in front of a picture of a bridge. And you just heard road and bridge, and that's all you thought that there was in there because that's how he was pitching it. You fell for the pitch. You got to read the summary. You got to read the details. You got to read the whole book, not the cover of the book. You got to actually open the book. And yeah, recon had a road and a bridge in there, but everything else is not the road and the bridge. So finally, when it was divested, the roads and bridges, and put separate, recon had an identity. Money for you, money for children, money for checks, money for seniors, money for adults, money for medicine, money for housing, money for lots of things, including stimulus checks. And suddenly your recon had its own identity. It could no longer be taken as the blame of it's only roads and bridges. It's only, I can't say that anymore, darn it. Yeah, the naysayers were just pissed. They couldn't say it was only roads and bridges anymore, and there's nothing in there anymore for you. Because now their story was ended, because the roads and bridges was down the hall in the next city, over beyond the river. If that wasn't clear enough, Mitch McConnell did it for us, because Mitch McConnell came out and said, okay, now that the roads and bridges are on the bipartisan, that recon needs to die because it's horrible. It's just a progressive wish list, a Democratic wish list with just checks for everyone. Socialism checks for everyone. So people can stay home and just get lots of checks. Thank you, Mitch. Thank you for clarifying that to the American people. And the naysayer got really upset that Mitch even clarified that. Oh, I'm angry. Yeah, the naysayer was just furious that suddenly Mitch was explaining to all the worst sides of the naysayers that there was all that money in there for you. So identity was the first. So was the second one. First one was easier to pass now. Identity is the second one. And finally, the third one, which that your recon suddenly got more money for you. What's going on here, LALATE? Well, now that they had taken the recon, now they had taken the road and the bridge out of the recon, there was a lot of freed up space, a lot of freed up money. The recon was, eaten up by all the expenditure on a road and bridge in there. And now that the road and bridge are down the river in the next town and the next zip code, guess what the progressives did? Yeah. Beep, beep, beep. You hear that? Beep. It's the U-Haul truck. It's the progressive U-Haul truck being backed up to the bill and dropping more progressive policies in there. Yes. And if you don't believe me, this has been written left and right by both conservatives and Democrats as to the first issue that is now an easier bill to pass. Now it's an easier recon to pass. The conservative print media is running that story, saying they're furious about the situation. Mitch was set up. Sorry, Mitch. It says that the higher the recon was before, it was harder to pass. By allowing the Democrats to take out part of the provisions of the bipartisan agreement, the overall recon became smaller. Of course it did. Now, with roads and bridges around, it was easier to pass. It was smaller. In other words, the bipartisan deal made it easier to pass the recon. I told you. And that was from a top conservative political news site. And there's nothing that the Republicans should have done to bless this recon, and that the Republicans should never agree. The title of the article was "The Republicans should never have signed on to the bipartisan." They were set up. Sorry, it stings, doesn't it? Yeah, it stings. Then, if you don't think that the progressives are not adding more stuff into the recon now, well, let me give you the quote from Ilhan Omar, progressive representative from the state of Minnesota. We progressive Democrats have a commitment that regardless of what happens with the bipartisan, the Congress will give us a recon that goes as far as we want it. Oh my goodness. It's so aggressive. I'm going to go as far as I want to go with you. Wow, Omar. This is just incredible. I mean, that's just sort of not even mincing words. It's basically saying whatever I want to put in there, we're going to put in there. Well, now they can, because there's space because the roads and bridges are out. And number two, because as detailed over the last week, the recon is now in a fort, F-O-R-T. It's in a fort of progressiveness and fort of democratic values, and it's being protected by the president and the progressives. More about that in a second. Representative Richie Torres talks about the adding in of more stuff for you now. He's adding in affordable housing. I never heard anything about housing checks in forced stimulus. I will refuse to vote on the recon unless it goes large enough. Oh, my goodness. It just keeps on going on. And yeah, the way they're able to do this is because it's being protected. Now, Jalapal gave us that tip-off 2 weeks ago, yesterday. I'm trying to remember the date of these quotes originally, when Jalapal said the president was thanking her for protecting his progressive policies in the recon. We didn't know what that meant now. Then we know what it means now, that the recon is in a fort, and it's being written by Democrats. No Republican wants a recon. It's being protected by Democrats, and it's being added into by Democrats. And Brian Schantz says the White House was repeatedly told him that the progressive priorities in the recon are the White House's own priorities. Game over. I mean, it's just, you can't get any clearer and more wonderful than that. Was this a big setup? Yes. I'll tell you this in this third part of this video. I hope Mitch is not watching. He's just going to get really angry when he sees this video. But first, let's go over how we got to this place. We got to this place when Jalapal had written a letter to Schumer saying, chuck all a vote. The letter was signed by 12 House Democrats, who were among the 100-plus House Democrats, who had written the president a letter that said, Mr. President, when we do forced stimulus recon, we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks in the forced stimulus package. Now, remember, when I say recon, there's no GOP member involved with recon. It's Democrats, and they can add as many stimulus checks as they want to do into that recon as they want, because it's their recon. Next, here we go. It gets better than that. 7 House Democrats wrote the president saying when they go to write the forced stimulus recon, they're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks in this. Okay, now, who are these people? This is critical. This is so wonderful news. These are the people on the House subcommittee called the House Ways and Means Subcommittee. I'm going to bring them up later in this video. That is solely responsible for writing stimulus checks. in the U.S. Congress and only responsible for writing the recon. Remember, there's no Republican writing a recon. It's only Democrats. And they're on the House committee responsible for writing recon stimulus checks. They wrote your third stimulus recon check in the spring. They're writing multiple stimulus check recons under fourth stimulus right now. And they say they're doing a fifth stimulus recon next year. Oh, my goodness. They also wrote your first and second stimulus check as well. Can we top that? We can. As the President of the United States 3 Saturdays ago today went overseas internationally and anchored fourth stimulus recon to the edge of the finish line by getting an international agreement about corporate taxes. If you say corporate taxes in the room to Mitch when he's holding a bipartisan meeting, he will run for the door and put his earmuffs on. He does not want to hear corporate taxes. Rightfully so. Bipartisan has nothing to do with corporate taxes. The recon does. The recon is paid for by corporate taxes. And why is the president doing an international agreement for corporate taxes? To pass his recon. You see this recurring trend? It's not to pass the bipartisan, it's to pass the recon. What did the president do? Well, fourth stimulus recon is paid for by raising corporate taxes. Whether the roads and bridges were in there originally or no longer in there, it's still being paid the same way. Yeah, you see it. He pitched the American people that I need to raise corporate taxes to pay for roads and bridges. Now the roads and bridges are not in there, but he's still using corporate taxes to pay for your checks. Yeah, I got it. The fourth stimulus recon is being paid for by raising corporate taxes, but the president was worried that if he raised corporate taxes, corporations would move overseas. So he doesn't want to lose all that revenue for the U.S. government. So he reached out to those other countries overseas, said, hey, can we raise the corporate tax rate? And the country said, yeah, come and meet me in December. He reached out to staff and said, staff, I like these people. Can we go meet them in December? Bring them some of Jill's potpourri. And the staff said, Mr. President, you can bring potpourri in June. It's Europe. They like potpourri all year long. They do things differently. They drive on the other side of the road. They watch the Tour de France. He said, oh, yeah, let's go. And so he went. 3 weeks ago today, he did. And he got those countries to sign on the dotted line now, before fourth stimulus, to anchor fourth stimulus recon to the edge of the finish line, because now you don't need a provision in the recon about corporate taxes internationally. It's in the international agreement. Making it easier and simpler to pass the fourth stimulus recon because you don't need that provision anymore. Oh my goodness, now that was brilliant. Can we top that? We can. As we go into our third and most important part of this major broadcast from Afternoons LA today, as we go into how they call the vote, which is a lot more important than when they call the vote. Stay with me to the very end of this video. It is a lot of shocking surprises. And coming up as well, fifth stimulus. But first, the volunteers. They're about as wonderful as anything else. And if you need help with rent, utilities, mortgage, or internet, and you've been watching all the people in the live chat talking about all the money they got, and you haven't gotten any, you've tried to find it, you've made the effort yourself, you can't find it, then reach out to the volunteers. They're salt of the earth, and they're there to help you nationally. How do you find them? Open the description of this video. Go down the description till you find a emoji of a house. Click on the emoji of the house. It'll send you to the community page. The community page. That's news.la.com/community. The community page has a picture of some kitty cats. Lower on the page of the volunteers. They can help you with rent, utilities, mortgage, and internet and SNAP. They cannot cook you a tostada. They cannot, fix your roof. They cannot repipe your house. But they can certainly get you all this other money. And here's a little bit about them. I'll be back in 60 seconds with you with the huge finale. Don't miss this one about your fourth stimulus and fifth stimulus. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on this big Saturday afternoon's LA broadcast from Santa Monica. How are you? It's the 4th of July weekend. I'm so glad you're here. But first, subscribe. At 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button. There's so much breaking news across the board. You cannot miss anything today. Hit that subscribe button. Also, like this video. 3,000 likes, as many likes as you can, because it helps stop the drop of the mixtape. Consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Calcino VIP. The link's at the top of the channel, the pinned comment. Coming up next is Evenings LA. Stay on this video. It'll take you automatically to Evenings LA tonight, followed by Overnight's Crypto. Boy, this stimulus is just heating up with so much breaking news. First, a fifth stimulus check, yes. This would be for next year. This would be fifth stimulus recon. Same people, same place. Those House subcommittee members writing the fifth stimulus recon check. This is for 2020, going to a vote in around October, November, December. Next, the president is dedicating $1 billion to the Social Security Administration to ensure your checks go out on time going forward. This is for stimulus checks, fifth stimulus checks, and your monthly stimulus checks. If you're missing, by the way, a first, second, or third stimulus check, you have to do two things. First, file a tax return and request the check. Number two, go on that tax return and actually request it in the tax return. If you did not do both steps, go see a tax preparer. Number three, we had a lot of breaking news this last week. Economic news that signals that inflation is going high. When we look at this stimulus with raising up your benefits, whether you're SSI, SSDI, or VA, we're looking at how high that inflationary benchmark is going to be. Well, this week we had a lot of economic data. Friday, new jobs number came in, higher than expected. That signals inflation is hot. Thursday, jobless claims, new jobless claims, lower. That suggests inflation is hot. Continuing jobless claims, worse, got more. So that suggests maybe inflation is not as hot. And then throughout the last week before, PPI, CPI, super hot. Lumber prices dropping 40% in 1 month, the lowest drop in 1 month. And new home sales surging. So when you look at collectively the data, it shows that inflation is going up a lot. A week ago and a half, Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, said that inflation will be going up, and it will reach its highest price point in December. So how high is this price point? Let's go over all the details and go over the calculations so you understand how your benefits will be raised up. First, they'll apply that benchmark of inflation. They'll raise your benefits up, remove the asset limit, remove the marriage penalty, and remove the income exclusion. Let's go over how this calculates starting right now. Most of these calculations you've understood very well from this channel. And so all we're sort of doing at this point is tinkering on the numbers as we get more insight. First, they're going to raise your benefits up a lifetime. This is you if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, SSA, or multiple benefits. Then they'll apply the benchmark. Now, you understand what applying a benchmark it means. They apply it every December for next year's benefits. If the number is a positive number, it goes up. If it's a zero number, it stays flat. If it's a negative number, it stays flat. Next, you understand the new benchmark will be inflation. Number three, you know that inflation's going up. Number four, and now you see from Jay Powell that inflation will reach its highest price point right when they apply your benefits. Oh my goodness, this is such great news. So let's see how wonderful this news is that the inflation is going up now to that peak. And if they're applying that peak right when they do your benefits, let's do that example. Let's say the inflation is going to be 10% in December, which a lot of analysts are saying. That would raise your benefits up 10%. Not just next year, lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. Yes, it's incredible. So if the year after this, the inflation rate is only 1%, then you'll be at +1, plus 10%. And the year after that, the inflation rate is 2%, you'll be at +2, +1, plus 10%. My goodness, it's wonderful news. Next, they're going to remove the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't stay on benefits and have more than $3,000 in hand. Now you'll be able to have some stimulus checks in your hand and maybe a taco. You'll be able to enjoy the end of the income cap. So you'll be able to work if you wish and stay on benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to go away. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest and no longer fear loss of benefits. And there you go. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will no longer fear loss of marriage benefits. Now, if you're in the live chat and you've seen viewers posting, I got SNAP, I got rent, I got this, and you look at these numbers, and they're $5,000, $6,000, $10,000, $12,000. You're like, wait a second, how come they're getting the money and I'm not? Maybe also because they're members. If you see a purple emoji next to their name, that's a hawk, purple hawk. That's because they're a member. The membership link's at the top of the chat and pinned comment. Members are delivered daily from me to them via the YouTube community page, a breakdown of all the money for them to get. This is money from the third stimulus. It's mostly application-based. When third stimulus was passed, I said, hey, you will be getting a $1,400 stimulus check, but most of you will qualify for $14,000. So why not get that big money? And in December of 2020, when nothing was being passed, I still got viewers money for rent and utilities, $250,000, because that's what we do here. So consider becoming a member so you get learning of the big money you can get right now. You don't need to be tracking the fourth stimulus check. You can be cashing thousands of dollars of checks from third stimulus right now. The link is in the top of the chat in the pinned comment, which brings us to the final big update of the fourth stimulus starting right now. It's the voting process, and you're going to see some tough love from me right now, right here. Tough love moment number one is that I don't even need to say this tough love moment for my viewers and my subscribers. It's for people who may have newly found this channel just today. If you post a comment like, what day is the vote? When are they voting? What date is the check-in going out? You are repeating the errors we learned of 2020. Tough love. Don't do that. Don't do that. In 2020, people were waiting around for an event to occur in July. It didn't happen. And they were waiting for an event to occur in October. It didn't happen. They were waiting for an event to occur in November. It didn't happen. And they said, oh my God, I'm going to lose my car because I was expecting Congress to do something that day. Don't do that. I'm imploring you, don't do that. That is why I show viewers how they can get fortunes of money. Number two, it's important to know that when they call the vote is not what's the issue. It's how they call the vote. And when they call the vote shows a lack of carefulness of the details. Here's what you need to know. There's three ways they can call the vote. Bipartisan first, recon second, recon and bipartisan together, or recon first. If they had called the vote for the bipartisan on Thursday and your recon on Friday, would you have celebrated because they called the vote before July 4th? If you don't follow these videos and don't listen to the details, you might have celebrated. Yay, they called the vote by July 4th. Until you saw the vote results on July 2nd, when they called the vote on Friday, July 2nd, dead, did not pass. Why would it not have passed on Friday, July 2nd? Because they called the bipartisan for a vote on July 1st, and it passed. The recon could not be called for a vote after the bipartisan, and if it did, it would die. We already got that confirmation. So the day they call the vote is what's so critical. Next, we have the great protection that the recon is going to be called first, not the bipartisan, or that the recon will be called concurrently with the bipartisan. And for anyone that thinks these people have been dragging their feet, they have not. Because we're going to see in a quote from Jalapal, who actually wrote your fourth stimulus monthly stimulus check bill for the House. She's actually been polling her members days before. Are you ready for this? The recon and the bipartisan were ever split. So they were plotting this out before they were even spun off? Yes. On this last Monday, she said that 10 days earlier, which is not the Wednesday when it was split, it's a week and a half before that. Before the recon and the bipartisan were ever split apart, she said, we did a poll of our members 10 days ago, and the overwhelming majority of our caucus said they're not going to vote on the bipartisan without the recon going first and concurrently. These people have been very devilish. They've been plotting this out all along. We have an agenda to accomplish, and the linking of these two bills is the only way to accomplish it. Meaning, she's trying to get you money, and they can't call the vote. You cannot call the vote the wrong way. Next, Nancy Pelosi has your back, and Chuck Schumer have your back. Here's what you need to know is that if anyone is trying to chase a date, and all you want to hear is the date, you don't understand the details of this. Because the critical thing is they have to call the date the right way. Because if they call the date the wrong way, you get nothing. But don't worry, because Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and the president, and Jalopal all have your back. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are the two people who are responsible for determining when some things are called, when they're called, how they're called, and where they're called, and what is called. And Nancy Pelosi spoke out about this. There ain't going to be no bipartisan unless we have the recon call for a vote first. Thank you, Nancy. And as I said, there won't be a bipartisan unless we have the recon bill called for a vote. Plain and simple. I use the word ain't, and there ain't going to be a bipartisan unless we have the recon bill passed by the House first. Thank goodness. So there you go. Critical details. Now, finally, when? Now that you understand that it's how it's important, then the question is, okay, I understand how they do it. So when can they get this done by, LA? Well, here's what you need to know is the House Ways and Means Committee. They have been watching this channel because they issued a statement before the weekend. And so did the House Budget Committee. Who are these two subcommittees? The House Budget Committee and the House Ways and Means Committee are tasked with literally writing much of the entire fourth stimulus recon. It's their job to get almost everything in the fourth stimulus recon done. And guess what they did? Before the weekend, they said, we're in town all next week. And we're not only in our offices next week and working on this, we're going to be in subcommittee meetings all next week, every day next week working on this. Can I give you a big hug, House subcommittees? You did my work. Because guess what? I've done this before. In July 2020, I did the Hey Fox News stories, where all Fox News was telling you in July 2020 was everyone's out of town from July to September. They're in another zip code. They're in another state. They're in another country. They're on vacation. And I had so much difficulty in pushing back on that fake narrative. I'm getting the benefit maybe now of Democrats who saw that fake narrative last year and they got ahead of the story and said, we're not leaving, so don't run that darn story. Here's what you need to know, is that there's a difference between in session and in town. There's a Congress, it's a big building, and on one side is the House, and one side is the Senate. In both sides, they have these different rooms, and on one side is a room called the Senate floor, and on another side of the building is a room called the House floor. That is where they vote on stuff. If they're not voting that day, the room is closed and the key is put away. It's in Nancy's hair. It's called not in session. Now, the fact that a room is closed in the building does not mean the people who work in the building are out of town. But this has been a very consistent, conservative false narrative of 2020, that when they're not in session, no one's working. Oh, Lord. They even ran that fake narrative last year when Mitch was in session confirming Supreme Court nominees, but the Senate was not in session. So here's what you need to know. The House members are working on the legislation every single day next week. Number one. Number two, they don't issue press releases or go on Twitter or appear in front of, I don't know, CNN and say, hi, I've written 12 pages. Here are the 12 pages I've written. Give it out to every American citizen so they can read the 12 pages I've written. They don't do that. So if you want updates from them every hour, they don't do that. And if you don't see the update, don't say they're not doing anything, they haven't written anything, they don't care, they're dragging their feet. They just don't give you updates until it's done, until it's voted on. Finally, voting, the president, the speaker, and the head of the Senate can call any members of Congress back into session with 24-hour notice and call things for a vote. And they've done it before. They do it all the time. Nancy Pelosi did last year with Louis's Joy from the postal office. So they can do it again. And with that, I got more stuff for you tonight on Evenings LA. It's a big broadcast. Wow, we went long. So with that, thank you for joining me. Stay with this video. It'll take you automatically into Evenings LA. But first, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Also, like this video. Every time you like this video, it helps ensure that the mixtape does not go on tour. And consider becoming a member. Purple Power Casino VIP, and learn about the big money that you can get across the board from this channel. You deserve that money, and I want you to get that money. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.